our work right now on the planet is to bring honoring and sanctity to the invisible just as much as the visible. The invisible results are things like feeling good, things like feeling connected, things like our health, our well-being, a feeling of joy, pleasure.
Embodiment can't be faked. Once you're in an open state where you actually can see through a clear lens, you're not clouded by fear, you're not clouded by the amygdala, you're not clouded by the society's news and all the fear-based stuff, and you're just with you. Then you get to decide where you think we actually are.
It is possible to navigate pain with grace.
Energy is information. We're here to experience the full spectrum.
That worthiness is hard for you. There's nothing wrong with you. It is a muscle that we kind of have to learn how to access. You are not disempowered, and you have power in every area of your life all the time.
I believe that chronic illness is an opportunity for us to heal.
Health, it's a choice. Listening to your body if you so choose.
My prayer for the world would be that they would know the infinite love of God.
Aloha and welcome to the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Join me each week for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around awakening to your soul purpose through 5-element well-being. Thank you so much for joining in. Aloha and welcome back to the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast. So this week's topic is all about creating space for your habits to thrive. I talk a lot about the being versus the doing, which is grounded in the foundation of embodiment, and how it feels like a lot less hustle and a lot less stress when we become the experience that we seek versus doing all the things to get there. So let me explain a little bit. Let me give you a few examples. Rather than being the person who is gonna try this new fasting diet, or I'm gonna go try this new thing at the gym, it's about creating the simple daily habits to commit the devotion and the discipline to commit to being the person who has healthy habits. And in order to do that, we have to create the intention, the time, and the space, and take aligned action to get there. If you own my 13 Moons journal, or if you've listened to my podcast, or if you've been in any of my group coaching programs, you know that the one thing that I start with is creating sacred space. Creating space for any type of change is where everything begins. Most people in today's world, they want a catalyst, they want a jumpstart, they want to jump through hoops, they want to take the shortcut to get to the result. And I'm going to invite you to consider to let go and release your focus and intention solely on the goal and the results, and more on your daily intention and simple practices to get you where you want to go. This is embodiment. This is the embodiment of the person that you want to become through your daily habits. And when you do this, it is so much more simple. It is easier. It is less hustle, more effortless, because it's sustainable. It's no yo-yo dieting or going back and forth. And the key is that it has to be authentically aligned with your values. When you say that you value something, if you value health or you value family, travel, adventure, I say this over and over again, your schedule, in other words, the investment of your time and your choices around your time, and your money, your investment of currency, in how you choose to invest your time and money and how you choose to take ownership of both of those, of your choice around those and your decisions around those, are going to create your reality. So how do we create space for habits to thrive? What is the difference between discipline and devotion around habits? And I love this conversation because in my life, I've lived in extremely masculine environments, attended a military academy, worked corporate as an engineer, and then became a women's empowerment coach through first health coaching and then energy healing, life coaching, and now supporting wellness leaders and coaches to create thriving businesses when they thrive and prosper in their personal life. And so it's this paradigm shift of combining the two energies, the masculine discipline and the feminine devotion, the soul-fueled, creative, intuitively led decision-making with the structure and the habits through discipline that create everything that you have on your goal list. So whether you're looking to create change in your health, let's talk about physical health, because this is, for me, the foundation. We talk about the 5 elements of living well. So physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial. For me, everything begins with physical well-being, which also includes mental and emotional well-being. So exercise and nutrition, a non-negotiation for me. I began my coaching career in 2009, 2010 in fitness and health coaching, and that eventually evolved into life coaching and breathwork and meditation and women's retreats and energy healing, and now serving those women to create thriving businesses to create a bigger impact. But it started with the physical well-being, the food that we eat, and movement. So how do we create space for that habit to thrive? Well, one of my hacks around that is when I say I'm going to work out, one thing that you can do is you can create a commitment. You can set an alarm on your cell phone. You can create a commitment with an accountability buddy. It's one of the beautiful things about having an accountability partner, a coach, or a friend who can help you on your commitment to movement. I have my workout partner. And another thing you can do is you can set your clothes out to work out the night before so that when you wake up in the morning and you go to change into your clothes, the first thing that you see is your exercise clothes. Now, I happen to be an entrepreneur that works from home, so I have the ability to create my calendar in any way that I want, which can be tricky because we have freedom to create time. And so time blocking and being intentional is even more important because we get to create the way that our calendar looks. And one of the things that I do is I don't change out of my workout clothes or take a shower until I've worked out. And so this means that sometimes I show up on group calls with wet hair because I'm exercising 2 hours before the group call, and by the time I get home and I get a chance to shower, I'm showing up with wet hair. If you work from home, one of the most important things that you can do is create a home office that creates the space for success. What that looks like in my home office is I keep it very simple. I have a lot of plants. The plants help to keep the oxygen clean. I have a nice big window that I get to look out of. I have a huge board on my wall that is an annual calendar. And then I take that annual calendar and I break it down into my 90-day plan. And then I take that 90-day plan and I break it down into a weekly plan of action. So every year and every quarter or every season, I look at what do I want to achieve this year. I then break it down by season or quarter. And then I have an idea of what I want to do for the month. And I break down my intentions each week. But it's not about the goals. It's about the daily habits and intentions that you put into place that are non-negotiables, that become who you are. So when you wake up every day and you take a few minutes of stillness, or you wake up every day to have your cup of coffee or journal, it just becomes part of who you are, just like brushing your teeth. When you go shopping at the grocery store and you perimeter shop because you're so used to not really allowing a whole lot of processed foods into your house, you don't even think about it. It just becomes part of who you are. It makes it easier to create those healthy habits. So it's really important to create the sacred space in your home and your business for your habits to thrive. One of the other changes that we made in our house on a personal level is, number one, we don't allow cell phones in the room. So I take my cell phone out of my room before I sleep at night, so I don't look at it before I go to sleep at night. And it's not the first thing that I look at when I wake up. Another one is that we recently did an addition to our house. Our house is one story. And we built a second sort of story with a guest suite, which is where my office is. And we do not believe in having TVs in the bedroom. Our house is very open, and so in the sitting room downstairs, we had the one and only TV in the house. Well, now what we've done is we've put that TV upstairs. So our whole house is centered around, we have musical instruments and sitting area and a record player and a nice big open kitchen, because we've created the space for connection rather than having, as most people do, the TV the center of their house. So that it's a conscious effort and a conscious choice to actually go upstairs and turn the TV on. It's not available when we're eating dinner. There are no computers, no technology near the kitchen, so that we're not distracted by that, because our mealtime is a value of ours that's really important, and it creates the space for the value of mealtime and connection. So how do you create the space for your habits to thrive, and why does this matter? Because habits are what get you to achieve the goal that you want, but the challenge is that everybody's so focused on the goal. So when you go to hire a coach or a mentor, a lot of times the way that marketing works is that people who are trying to sell you something will speak to your pain points or your pleasure points, and that's all centered around a specific goal. Most people, their brain doesn't respond to the habits that they have to create in order to achieve that goal. So oftentimes we have to speak to the goal with the intention that we're going to teach you the habits to get there. So when you have a goal, an intention that you want to create, what you want to do is you want to find the person that's created what you want to create, whether it's leadership on your corporate team, or health, or weight loss, or a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, a thriving business. Find a person who has created what you want to create, and then ask them what their systems and structures are to get them there. Their daily habits, their disciplines, in order to achieve that goal. It's a blend of doing the inner work to really notice the blocks that come up around procrastination and avoidance and indecision, which are huge blocks in creating daily habits, and recognizing which of these comes up for you. When was the last time that you set out an intention to achieve something and you didn't achieve it? And what was standing in the way? What are the behaviors that come up that keep you from going where you want to go? And why is it so hard? This is why I love coaching and mentoring. Because when you have a coach or a mentor that has your back, that can show you the way, that can teach you the habits, teach you the strategies, hold you accountable, you will be on that path to achieve your goal. You get to take their habits, their systems, their strategies, and tweak them in a way that works for you. You get to gather information in a way that fits into your life, and then have somebody that's going to check in with you on how it's going. And as much as I wish that I was completely self-motivated, which to be an entrepreneur, you have to be very self-motivated. In my 15 years of coaching women, 9 times out of 10, every person that I've met and in my own self, my success, the success of my daily intention and my habits that change who I am, that change my life forever, come in a coaching mentor relationship. When I have a coach to support me and when I'm supporting other women. It's why I love what I do, because it works. And one of the biggest ego blocks that often shows up is that we think we can do it on our own. We think we already have the tools. I come across this a lot when I'm coaching wellness leaders and other coaches to lead retreats. They eventually come to me after trying to host a couple of retreats on their own where maybe they made a couple $100 or maybe they even lost money because they didn't have the retreat profit method that I teach. They didn't understand their retreat facilitator leadership archetype. They didn't understand the ethics, the boundaries, the energetics, the legal, the logistics to create a container that elevates the experience. And so oftentimes what we do is we think we don't need the personal trainer, we don't need the nutritionist, we don't need the coach to show us where we're going to go. We think we can copy people. And this is a dangerous place to be because it won't be aligned if you're showing up thinking you can do it all on your own and because it worked for somebody else. The first thing you want to do when you're creating space for habits to thrive is you want to simplify. In my office at home, I simplify my space. I've simplified my closet. I've simplified my home and the things in it. I've simplified what is in my pantry, starting with the ingredients that are in the foods that I eat, simplifying my beauty care products with the ingredients. Less is better. Less is always better. We have to simplify to amplify. I simplify my desktop, simplify the methods that I use to run a business, because one of my best procrastinating techniques is planning. And having all of these strategies and planning and to-do list in place that is 90% of the work, so that when it comes time to actually do the work, I already feel burned out. And I know this about myself. I'm a quick start. I'm a manifesting generator. I'm a very quick learner. And so as much as this is a gift, it's also a shadow in my work ethic. My over-planning is my procrastination. And it's very sneaky because planning is taking action. But it's like having somebody come to your house to teach you how to cook, but then not taking the next step to cook your own meal. Or going to talk to a personal trainer because you want to get into shape, but not taking the next step to commit to signing up for that strengthening program. or getting on a call with a coach to make some type of change, whether it's to elevate your business, create a retreat, do some personal work around mindset shifts, getting on that first call, but then not taking the next step. In order to create those healthy habits after you create the space, the next thing you need to do is create the momentum. Decision creates momentum. Planning is not a decision. And this is really tricky. There's a difference between planning and aligned action. Planning is like gathering the ingredients to bake a loaf of bread. The aligned action comes when you put them in the bowl together and you bake the bread. Planning is gathering the recipe and the ingredients. But you're not going to get to enjoy the loaf of bread until you mix the ingredients together and put the loaf of bread in the oven. Momentum is a crucial part of creating daily intention and habits to become the person that you want to be. It's not about the goals. It's about the simple daily habits. It's about the daily decision that you make that creates momentum every day on the path of the person that you're becoming. Every decision you make in every moment creates a pathway of opportunity. When you say no to something, you either create space for something new or you shut down an opportunity. When you say yes to something, you create space for an opportunity and you say no to something else. Because there's only so much space and time and energy for each of us. And that's why creating sacred space is the most important foundation for creating habits in order for you to thrive and prosper in your life and in your business. To thrive in your life and prosper in your business. To thrive in your life, in your relationships with your health, your loved ones, your well-being, so that you can prosper in your work and your service into the world. So I'll leave you with this question. Where can I create space in my life? What space do I need to create in order to be intentional about my daily habits? What daily habits, what simple daily habit, let's just start with one, will get me to where I want to go? And what do I need in order to make this sustainable? I'd like to invite you to check out my 13 Moons journal. The first month, January, is all about creating sacred space. You don't have to start in January, but every month has a theme. And the first place that we begin is creating sacred space. You get super clear on your why, super clear on your relationship with time and energy, so that you can create the space for your intention, which you will achieve through your daily habits. It invites you to go a little bit deeper into what are your fears around your intentions, your goals, and your dreams. What are the challenges that you're afraid will come up? What are the challenges that you've overcome? How are you embodying your values through aligned action to be the person you say that you want to be? In your relationship with time and energy, what do you wish that you had more of? And what's standing in the way of you having or becoming the person that you want to become. So to clarify, today we talked about the importance of creating space for habits to thrive. How it's not about the goals, but the intention of daily action and decision towards the person that you want to become. Simplify your goals, simplify your workspace, simplify your life, simplify your home, simplify your relationships. Know what your patterns are that keep you from daily habits. Procrastination, indecision, overcomplicating, overplanning. Find yourself an accountability partner. And then lastly, celebrate yourself. I think it's something that we easily forget. It's important to look back and reflect on all the changes that you have made and how far you've become. Because when we commit to the embodiment of living in alignment with our values, it happens slowly over time, but it's sustainable. And it can often be easy to look past the celebration. So celebrate yourself. Maybe with your accountability partner. And I'll leave you with this question. What am I ready to create space for in my life? What daily habit am I ready to embody? And what impact will this create on my life? Thank you so much for joining. I'd love to hear what you took away from today's podcast episode. I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Aloha.
The content of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and inform you of pathways to an embodied healing self. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice from your medical doctor, therapist, registered dietitian, or nutritionist for any questions you may have regarding your diagnosis or condition.
Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining again each week on the Body and Soul Wisdom podcast. I am so deeply honored to share this space with you every week. I know that there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and our community is expanding and growing more with each new episode. I'd like to invite you to come on over to jenmons.com/tribe and receive some of the wonderful gifts that we have for you. A meditation bundle, energetic alignment, 5-element wealth, prosperity consciousness. We have a ton of different gifts available for you to enjoy. Now, we have one small favor to ask. In order for this podcast to get into the hearts and souls of like and light-minded people, we need your support. We would love your review and would love it if you'd head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review or leave one on iTunes so that we can continue to share the love beyond out into the world. Thank you so much again for joining in. We'll see you next week.